What do you think is the major contributor towards obesity?
Since 1975, obesity rates globally have started to skyrocket, creating a crisis for many more developed countries. This crisis must be addressed. In an interview with Ms. Crystal McDowell, who is a North Carolina State graduate, she expresses that obesity is multifaceted and requires more than one solution for those in the future to prevent suffering from obesity.
As a person who teaches science and has a lot of knowledge of biology, and I do a lot of research on these things, I think there's several factors. The fast food, the food deserts, and the food swamps. Food swamps are even a bigger thing. That's actually where you are surrounded by fast food and not good, healthy food. In terms of research, there have been states that have looked at even taxes on certain types of foods and certain types of items that are unhealthy.
In a study mentioned by the National Institute of Health, a tax would be predicted to relieve 180,000 people from obesity in the United Kingdom. However, this is only 3% of those affected, which prompts the question, what other outside factors besides eating habits can lead to obesity? Ms. Stacy Rush, an occupational therapist, says that there are 3 different body types, which may make us genetically predisposed to hold more fat than other people.
I am a physical therapist. I am a USA triathlon coach, and I'm an assistant varsity volleyball coach. You know, we're body types, endomorphs, ectomorphs, and mesomorphs, right? So we are genetically predispositioned to have a certain body type based on our parents. At that point, the parents really have to hone in on teaching their child good eating habits from the get-go, which can be difficult. I myself had the same issue with my children. Mommy, I don't want to eat the healthy stuff. I want to eat Doritos. But then we also have to teach you as you're becoming adults how to have that self-control for yourself.
Sometimes you have to understand too that there's alternative factors, right? Some people have a difficult trouble maintaining their weight because of the fact that not just the things I've mentioned about the foods that they eat, but sometimes it's the medications they're on, and sometimes it is their genetics, right? There is one chemical called leptin that actually controls and regulates through feedback mechanisms whether or not you're even feeling hunger or not. So a person can literally have, like I said, genetic components to where they can't control sometimes whether or not they're able to maintain their weight. In my opinion, based on my expertise, is that like information and awareness and advocacy is the route that I usually take. A big part of what we succumb to, whether it's social media, whether it's on television, whatever means it is, we have so much bombarding us that says this is good, this is great, but it's not. And that's why the education piece is so important. Our perception of ourselves, our confidence is linked to sometimes, unfortunately, how we look, how we feel, social norms affecting people negatively because how they're treated based on how they may appear.
A strong juxtaposition is apparent when we look at how many fast food options we have compared to healthy foods, and then we look at the desire for our society to be skinny. It's important to find a happy medium in order for us to function well mentally and physically and be the healthiest that we possibly can be. It's easy to fall into the trap of, if Kendall Jenner is skinny, why shouldn't I be? Or if Ariana Grande is skinny, why shouldn't I be? Which is shown in this interview with Madison Hawley.
Well, if all celebrities... Every morning I get up and I say I'm going to the gym. Every morning I get up and I say I'm going to eat better. Every morning I get up and say I'm going to change my life, and I never do.
And you don't understand how terrible that makes me feel about myself.
Being underweight and being overweight can both be linked to ignorance.
I've always been told that if you eat bad food at all, you're going to get really fat. Y'all need to be healthy. It's so bad for you.
You could call it a turning point in the health of kids. For the first time in history, more children around the world are obese rather than underweight.
All of the devices that we have are great babysitters. So instead of making our kids go outside and play, sometimes it's just easier to give them an iPad, so that makes it tough. As young kids don't realize the effect it'll have on us later. You guys can get away with a lot more stuff now, but if you continue these eating habits down the road, you're going to find that it's a lot harder to maintain a healthy weight and difficult getting into quote-unquote living a healthy lifestyle. It would be great if the U.S. would put restrictions on what's allowed in food. Say the UK, there are no preservatives allowed in food, there are no artificial dyes allowed in food. Unlike here, we have a lot of other substances that are not great. Setting up infrastructure that would allow us to walk more, like to school or to the grocery store, to stores in itself would be helpful. And fast food may be cheap, but it's not a great option.
Overall, obesity can be said to have 3 causes: eating habits, genetic predisposition, and decrease in activity levels from generation to generation. A solution must be found that does not include radical ideals in order for us to create a healthy society. We must come together to fight against the spread of this disease called obesity that is slowly taking over